So, why you have trouble punching short is the mechanics you were taught. If you saw a traditional, really good Kung Fu school, you would spend the first number of years doing hard style, you'd do the next number of years doing hard soft style, then you would learn soft. Karate is all go and no Jew most of the time. I mean, the reality is most people practice hard and they say they do softer work and close work, but they don't. And this is why. So, in a standard karate motion, you have to throw those hips and get that arm out there to make this happen. Which is fine, but it requires distance. Most karate guys punch almost like a baseball would be thrown, where you have hip-shoulder separation, the hip bleeds, you separate, and then the hand has to catch up, which does create a lot of power. But a pitcher has all day and he has all the room in the world to throw. You don't have that in a tight space. So if we're like this and I do this, this is fine. And you always see this, I love this. It's like, we're in close style. Is this looking close? It's not. It's mid-range at best. And so they have to let this catch up to make this happen. The problem with this punch is because you have to let it catch up, is if he steps in, like inevitably it destroys my motion, because as the hand is trying to catch up to the hips, often it gets jammed there and you lose it. So often when you see karate sparring, like everyone's out here, right, and we're throwing long range. So close range is different. So when you're throwing close, it relies less on you having to do this whole hip-shoulder separation. What I need, I'll show this as a push so I don't hurt him, but watch him. Watch his shoulders and his neck. You see that acceleration like that? Now, realistically, you throw it with juice, but you can't do that like this. Like it's too stiff. When you want someone hit, you don't want them to push and go away. You want them to kind of fold and rattle through the whole body. Like there's a, like that. Now, how that happens is number one, you have to get your hand out ahead enough so that when you do this with your hips and your hand, they connect. Like that. If you're doing this, you've lost it. And a lot of you are doing that. I bet you don't even know you are. Film yourself, you'll see it. You'll see this, or you'll see this before that happens. So you have to learn to keep your hands in tight and go like this. Number two, you have to be relaxed to do this. Again, a lot of karate styles that I used to go to in particular would teach us this. You would, at that point of impact, everything tenses together. And then it tries to whip. And what they would do, when I used to take traditional Japanese karate, is they would plant their back foot. So it was a brace. They actually said that to me once. You got to figure that's a brace so you don't bounce away, because if you're like this, you're going to bounce. Hitting short doesn't work like that. You just cannot generate that force with tension mechanics at that space. So what has to happen is you have to learn how to relax in the hips. And you have to not tense the arms. Like when you hit, there should be grandma fat. Right? You ever been to Thanksgiving? Ever seen that? It's never pretty. But when you hit, do you see how like there's a relaxation on it? So many people I know do this. Like there's like, and you're stopping the energy. You got to think this is like a water bag. You're trying to splash that 70% of your body that's water on top of what you're doing. When you go like this, everything stops and you don't get that splash. Instead of throwing like a hard ball at the wall, it's almost like you're taking like silly putty or something and you're trying to splat to it. Just try to stick to it, but then there's a crack on it. It's different. But that being said, the pec should do this. As they move, you should feel those move. Your glutes should move, your legs should move, everything should wave. I could show it to you naked, I'm not gonna. But if you actually watched yourself in a mirror, just wearing shorts, you would see everything just wave properly through the body. So you have to feel this, right? And you should try this. Like, if you want to do this without hurt your partners, just to try and feel it, do it more like a push than a punch to start, right? What you want to do is take it and just extend your hip with tension and see what he does. See how he bounces away? And then what you want to do it slow at first, right? You want to feel that. See that little shake? That's what you want. You want that shake. You want everything to buckle. You want to see him shake inside, because that's everything inside of him going like this. It doesn't move like this. You want it to rattle. Also, to hit short, you have to have a different emphasis of when you're hitting. Most people accelerate really hard at the beginning. The reality is you actually kind of accelerate at the end. And you have to here, because if I accelerate hard in the beginning, I'm going to end up like this. What happens is the wave starts, and then the wave cracks. At the end, there's a depth. And if you do this too shallow, it won't work. You actually have to feel this go in a certain depth, and then it cracks. That's where the power from that comes. Now, this is going to mess a lot of you guys up, because in traditional karate, right, you're hitting with the first two knuckles all the time, and you have to pull them to hit that way properly, which brings tension through here. I'm not saying it doesn't work. There are times you want to do that. But if you're going to hit softer and shorter, you have to relieve the tension off of that, because your muscles will be too tight to make that crack properly. You actually have to learn how to just splat that onto him properly so it splats. One more thing on this is, so right, in karate we all do this. We do the belt thing, right? It's fine. But when most people do it because of the tension, they have to pull it back from muscular tension, because you're locked, right? When you lock and try and release, there's no bounce. I mean, if I threw a ball with no tension, it would bounce, and it would bounce back naturally. But if you threw it to me and I grabbed it and held it there for a fraction of a second and then let go, it wouldn't bounce back naturally. I'd have to move it to make it move. In your hips in particular, you have to have this bounce without locking them out. When you pull back is when you feel the ricochet. So if I hit him and I go like this too quick, I lose it, right? If I go like this and I go too far and I lock and then I pull back, I've lost that also. Like, porridge is too hot, porridge is too cold, porridge is just right. You got to find that middle thing. So right here, and this is a feel, it takes years to find this, is as you go in, you're going to feel where you finish the blow and where the body almost wants to bounce back on its own. You see how it's just like a bounce? But you can't bounce too early. If you just bounce like off him, there's no depth. You have to go in and then feel the bounce. And then you create just tremendous heavy power when you do it. So comments are coming, I can see it. That's not how you punch. That's not how we do things. Who's we? Right? I mean, karate is a mishmash of all sorts of stuff from different instructors from Okinawa for many years. I'd be willing to bet you, back in the day, there were some karate guys who were smaller and quicker and more relaxed, and there were guys who were bigger and stronger and used bigger technique because that's what their body dictated. There is no absolute punch in karate. There's absolute punch in your style. That's fine. That's a legitimate argument. That's not how I punch in my style. Okay, but sometimes in the comments I get, that's not how karate punches. Do you really know that? You don't. The history on karate is so poor, it's unbelievable. So, to me, it's not about your style or that you should absolutely mandate that I have to punch this way. You teach beginners form. Once they understand the form and they get really good at it, they spend the next 20 years softening up. And then they go back, and when they teach, you start the process over again for someone else. You don't start them at the top of the heap learning advanced mechanics. They have to learn the form. So yes, it's important to have the form to teach the next generation, but for you personally, Why do you want to be broken up and beat up for the rest of your life and never evolve and change? So be smart, be healthy, learn how to hit heavy, and everything will go good for you.